Welcome to Take a Look. IF stands for Imaginary Friends. We'll take a look inside this new family movie with writer-director John Krasinski and how he got real people like Louis Gossett Jr., George Clooney, Matt Damon, and Emily Blunt to be in his movie. Wait, one of those is his wife, so that's kind of a plot spoil. Also, we'll take a deep dive into the tragic drama of Amy Winehouse's life with the star and director of Back to Black. Also, we'll take you inside Navy fighters, Blue Angels like you've never seen before. And look out, Tyler Perry, your friends have come together for a bit of a roast in Not Another Church Movie. What's it about? We don't know, so let's catch up with the cast and crew and take a look. Look. Hey, welcome. You're just in time to take a look where we do exactly that. We're talking about movies, but also series, whatever is on a big screen or a small screen, no matter what size screen you've got, we're going to be talking about all of that stuff and more. And today with my very special guest, straight off of Netflix is a Joke, Marcus Mangum. How are you, man?
I'm good. How you doing?
All right, so Netflix is a joke. You got to be exhausted. What was your favorite part? Highlights. What's the standout a year from now? What are we going to remember?
I think you're just going to remember everybody being there. Like, everybody who was anybody was at Netflix is a joke. And they did a tribute to Sinbad. That was great.
Exactly.
You know, he's had health problems, but everybody came out. Everybody who was anybody was there.
Tom Brady's roast, I don't know if you saw that, but he's going to be in therapy for a long time, as well as pretty much anybody else that was a victim to the diaz. All right, coming up in a moment, we've got all of those other movies we talked about, but right now, let's start off with John Krasinski's If. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Did you have an imaginary friend?
I did.
Really?
Yeah.
What was his name? Or her, or they?
They. No, his name was Frank.
Really? Tell me about Frank.
A little weird. I was a kid, but Frank was about 6 feet tall. He wore a headband and only boxer shorts. I don't know why.
Yeah, very specific with the wardrobe. I'm looking, I don't see anybody represented like that in this movie, but just about everybody in Hollywood is voiced in the movie. That young lady you see there crushes it in a live performance. Kaylee, I talked to her about it. Take a look.
You were so good in this movie. Like, there's so many times I cried in this movie. I didn't think I was going to be crying in this movie. Laughter to tear ratio is very good.
Yes.
But
Okay,
still.
good. Thank you.
Great moments. What's it like? You have to bring so much of this, just imagining everything.
Yeah. I was really nervous about filming with the IFs at first because I didn't know how that would work. But thankfully, John wanted to do everything practically, and he wanted it to be as real as possible. So for Blue and Blossom and Lewis, we had actors there. And they kind of matched their height. Obviously, not for Blue. Nobody's 8 feet tall.
Right.
But they did their dialogue so that we had somebody to look at, interact with. And they were great. Our actors were fantastic. And then sometimes we would have, like, puppets or stuffed animals. John would get behind those and, like, move them around and talk like them.
Right.
So we very rarely had, like, tennis balls or pieces of tape just because he wanted it to be real.
And it feels that way. It comes across
you.
so organically.
So sweet.
10, 20 movies from now, 30 Academy Awards from now. What's the scene you're going to remember most from this?
There's so many. I love the dance. That was like my dream come true. I've always wanted to dance in a movie. And there's a scene there's one with Blue and all the ifs. He walks into this room and they're all standing there. I love that one. And there's one of me and Ryan towards the end that makes me cry every single time.
Same here. Okay, so if you could take one if from this movie to be your if for the rest of your life, who would it be?
That's a good question. Oh, there's so many. I've only seen it twice. Second time I watched it, I loved Uni the Unicorn. So it changes literally every 5 minutes. But for this minute right now, I think I would say her.
Yeah, she's awesome. I mostly relate to Marshmallow Man because I
Me
go
too.
through like kind of awkward.
Okay, yes, no,
pieces
maybe
falling
I'll
off.
pick him. You know how his eyes like melting out of his...
Yeah.
That's how my brain feels, so...
You and I. Right on. Nice to see you.
He is awesome. So awesome. What are you laughing at?
Frank. He's laughing at your suit, that purple suit. Were you lighting a beam?
First of all, Frank's wearing nothing but a headband, and second of all, I didn't know Frank was still with us. That's kind of weird. Oh, but I got an imaginary friend, and I introduced my imaginary friend to John Krasinski. Speaking of which, how do you think he got all these voice talents to come to the table?
They got to be Office fans or something. I don't know.
Well, Steve Carell was in The Office, so that's there, and then one of them he's married to. We talk about it all. Take a look. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. How are you doing?
I'm trying not to cry. You made me cry in this.
Wow, that's the best compliment. Thank you.
Well, and I will tell you, the laughter to tear ratio, just right for this kind of movie.
Thank you
It
very
worked out
much.
okay.
Thank you. And I love your color. It's like
What a coincidence that I happen to have this on today, and it matches the
I don't know how
Steve
you got it
Carell's
tailored
character.
so fast. I don't know how you did that.
It's my homage to Steve Carell's character. I love this movie.
Wow,
I
thank
love
you so
everything
much.
about it. I love that it was born organically from you and your family, really. You're
That's
kind of
it.
inspired by kids.
100%. It was made for my kids and inspired by my kids. I have been spending years and hours watching my girls go into this magical world that we as parents are not invited into.
Right.
And I always thought that would make a great movie, but it wasn't until the pandemic hit and I saw that they started to do fewer and fewer imaginary games. Their lights looked like it was dwindling a bit. And they started to ask real world questions like, are we going to be okay? And I thought, wow, that's the definition of growing up. When you start to say, I choose the real world versus this imaginary world, and they can coexist. And so I said to them, no, I'm going to write a movie about how that magical world that you created, you can go back into anytime. All those hopes, dreams, and ambitions. Listen, we all have bad days, but you can always go back to that world.
But you want to talk tough studio heads. Like, did they look at the dailies and say, Dad, we have some notes?
Yeah. No, they were actually involved right from the beginning. I showed them the early sketches. I'm a terrible artist, so I would do sketches of all the characters. They would do sketches of the characters.
Right.
They did have ideas on like the trailer. I remember my daughter said on the second trailer, she said, it's really good. I just missed one line. I said, which line? And she said, then we need to help them. And Ryan says, yes, we do. And I thought, oh my God, she's totally right. So I put that back in the trailer because she had told me.
Brilliant. Anytime you're like you were stuck in writer's cramp, just call a kid.
Yeah. Now they get 10%, and then we're
whatever it takes. It's either that or it's college. Someday it's going to happen either way. I love the organic nature of all the people that came to play. Like Matt Damon's your neighbor. Matt Damon's in the movie.
Exactly. It's very easy to ask Matt if he can do a movie because he comes down in his slippers to watch movies with us. No, it was really amazing. Yes, I know a bunch of these people, and a lot of the people I hadn't met but admired from afar. And it was one of those things where I always try to pitch the story before anyone reads the script. And so I reached out to all of them directly and told them what I was doing. I said, you have no reason to do this, but this is what it is. And I've never had faster yeses or more yeses. I got everybody I wanted in the movie. And I got to say, it was because of the movie. They said, doing a movie about bringing back your childhood and also doing something that puts good out into the world right now is really important. So they jumped on board quick. I'll never get a cast like this. That I know.
This is awkward. My imaginary friend just walked into the room.
Oh, wow.
I had not planned this.
Wow.
Can he come in?
Yeah.
Come on, sit right here.
Oh, he's walking through? Okay, got it.
His name's Brad.
Brad?
Yeah, my imaginary friend is imaginary Brad Pitt.
Is it imaginary Brad Pitt, or maybe that's real Brad Pitt?
Let me do the asking here. He wants to know, is this a career best performance from Brad Pitt?
I got to say, I think it might be one of his best performances.
It really is. It's the subtlety in what he gives, what he brings is amazing.
Yeah, he's able to disappear into this role.
Everything about this is great. I hate to talk in cliche, but it's a masterpiece, an instant classic.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you saying that. Thank you very much.
If now playing, by the way, my imaginary friend Brad Pitt is not wearing pants, much like the banana in this movie. All right, so see if because...
It's a great family movie. You can bring your real friends, your imaginary friends. It's great for everybody. Come see it.
You got to buy a ticket for your imaginary friends?
Sometimes. He's pretty sneaky, though.
Figure it out.
I'll hold the door for him.
All right, coming up next, Tyler Perry fans, and otherwise, there's a movie kind of goofing on Tyler Perry movies. How he feels about that, how we feel about that, next. Hey, there we are. Hey, we're on a screen right now. That's comedian Marcus Mangum. My name is Marcus Allen. Thanks for joining us for Take a Look. By the way, if you're ever in Northern California, specifically the Napa area, when you're not on tour, are you still doing that wine tasting comedy tour?
Yep, I do a wine and comedy crawl in downtown Napa.
Good.
We go to 3 different tasting rooms to let the sommelier do their thing, and while you're sitting there drinking, we tell you jokes.
All of that is good. 2-bottle minimum?
It's up to you.
All right,
Could be 8 if you want to.
We'll figure that out. It might be funnier that way.
You gotta have your own ride, though.
All right, speaking of funny, we got to talk about this comedy. Dangerous territory we're getting into because we're talking about Not Another Church movie, and it's kind of a movie that lampoons and roasts Tyler Perry's everything.
Yeah.
How are we feeling about this?
It's pretty good. I love it as a lampoon and making fun of it, but I'm being honest, it's not really my tea. It's not me.
Yeah, I was a paid admission in to see this movie. There were 2 other people in the audience, so I don't think it's going to be much of a problem for Tyler at all. I've been friends with him for a long time. He's taught me a lot about movie making, but we did have a thing back in the day. Take a look. Because Medea's coming to an end, I'd like to talk about, about a decade ago, I got on the wrong side of you. Do you recall that?
It's a little more than a decade ago, but you didn't get on the wrong side of me. We had a disagreement.
But you were kind enough to call me, and you were a very powerful man at the time, and we had a great conversation, and it changed my life, and I'm just thankful for you.
I appreciate that,
You make the
man.
world a better place.
Thank you. I appreciate that, because for me, what I want to do with anybody is I want to make sure that we have a clear communication and that we're making each other better. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
And what words of advice would Medea give me for the rest of my life?
Baby, be true to yourself and don't take no.
Great to see you.
Put that on the card.
That's right. Put it on your card.
I love that guy, and I love the place and culture and history that all the Medea films have. So, I'm going to go on the record right now and say I don't really support this new movie we're talking about at all, but we got to talk about it because that's the nature of this show.
We have to.
All right, so in this movie, not another church movie, instead of Tyler, you get
Taylor.
right, and instead of Medea, you get
Medua.
exactly. And Kevin's the person who brings it all together. I talked as to whether or not he was worried. Take a look. Hey, man, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I like your background.
Yeah, to show some love, I had to represent.
Love it. It's great.
Hey, so are you at all worried about making light of the Tyler Perry empire? I know Tyler Perry. I consider us to be friends. I wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of that. Are you worried?
No, I'm not, man. I think it's a really funny movie, and it kind of like you can only pay I think flattery is a sincere. Imitation is a serious form of flattery. You know what I mean? It's like we can only make fun and tell the jokes because he has this like plethora of work out there. Like he's built this empire, making all this stuff that's touched so many people. And I think people want to laugh about it. I think it'll be great. And I hope that he'll like it so much that he'll actually do a film with me. It'll be Madude and Medea. It'll be great.
So there you go. Nice enough guy, but I'll tell you my input on this movie. If you watch the trailer to this and it makes you think you need to go see it in a movie theater, really watch it again. And if you absolutely must see it, I suggest you do one of his comedy tours, drink every bit of the wine that they have available, and then it might be funny to you.
Yeah, about 9-drink minimum, you'll love this movie.
That's what I'm saying. Drink responsibly. Forget what I just said. In the meantime, let's talk about something that is truly amazing. Back to Black. Amy Winehouse's life is celebrated in a tremendous way. Coming up next, we're going to go behind the scenes with the cast and crew, people who made it happen. That, of course, is the real Amy Winehouse, the subject of the new movie Back to Black, a great real music documentary. What do you think of it? Moved you?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I wasn't a huge Amy Winehouse fan, but I think it kind of made me one because I learned a lot in the movie, from her battles with depression and just her wanting to do her own original material. She would never do the same thing twice.
Yeah, exactly. And it's easy to take a snapshot and be very superficial about this kind of stuff, but when you hear the lyrics to Rehab, and there were people that were snarky and thought it was funny, like, oh, she really did have to go to rehab. Yeah. And then not long after that, she died. Well, how did this happen? Well, it's brought to life by Marissa and Sam Taylor Johnson, the director. We had a chance to talk about it. Take a look.
Talk about your relationship to the music and spirit of Amy before you jumped into this and now since.
Well, I was very young while Amy was at her sort of cultural peak. Her significance in the UK, her popularity, globally, of course, but in London and at the UK, it just really can't be underestimated. But I was 10 when Back to Black came out. So singing along to, Rehab or Tears Dry on Their Own or Love is a Losing Game, you don't necessarily understand what it is that you're saying. So as a grown woman, reading her lyrics, especially, her as a songwriter and as an artist, in that respect, the sort of intensity of emotion, the way that she was able to experience life and then put it all into these 2 albums that are so beautiful and vulnerable and complicated. I think it sort of just changed my relationship to her and to her music in a massive way, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for her as an artist.
Absolutely. Your performance in this movie changed my relationship. I was an adult when the movie came out, but
you.
you hear Back to Black, you're poolside, snapping your fingers,
Yeah.
It hits you one way, and then when you see where it came from, another way. So beautiful job translating this.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it was quite clear to me when I started to make the movie that the important way to tell her story was through her perspective, and for her to almost tell her story through the lyrics and the words and her performances. So that way it felt like a celebration of her, because we all are aware of the tragedy and a sense of her being portrayed as a victim, but to be able to sort of come back and sort of uphold and celebrate the music and the creative soul that she was really important to me.
With that said, watch the performance where you're shooting it, and we all know that the craft is that the music's playing, you're lip syncing some of it, but you really felt you were jumping into her spirit.
Well, I didn't lip sync any of it. It was all me.
She sang the whole movie.
I sang the whole movie.
All of it.
Yeah,
the whole movie.
This is what I wanted to get at. I was tap dancing into that.
A poignant performance. I always say go see it on the biggest screen possible, and I'll tell you to do that not so much because of the visuals, because that's where you're going to get the best sound, and this is really all about the sound, right?
Yeah. Did you know she did her own songs in this movie?
Are you calling me out because in the interview it appeared that I didn't know she did all of her own songs? No, I didn't. I didn't know she did her own singing. I thought it was kind of like Bohemian Rhapsody where she lip synced some of it, but she did it all, and all the more reason you need to go celebrate it. All right, if given a chance, would you go up in an F-16, F-18 fighter? Would you go up in a Blue Angel?
I would do it. I live a little. I live. Let's do it.
Good. Let's hook you up. I got a chance to do that and to talk to the people bringing the Blue Angels to life on the IMAX screen where you need to see it before it goes to Prime. We'll talk with them next as we take a look. Hey, welcome back. It is Take a Look. Right now, we're taking a look at something you can see on an enormous screen, and I highly suggest it. It is the Blue Angels, inside and outside of the Blue Angels like you have never seen them before. If you've ever wondered what it was like to take a ride on it, this is going to get you that close to it, and you're going to really appreciate the precision in it. It goes to Prime later on, but wouldn't you suggest people see it on the biggest screen possible, Marcus?
Oh, yeah. You got to IMAX this thing or something. You got to check it out, man.
Exactly. Now, when I say it takes you closer, I'm uniquely qualified to answer that because I actually rode with the Blue Angels one time.
How was it?
It was like kind of nerve-wracking. You know how you feel like if you go up in a Blue Angel jet, it's going to be like precision, like a brand new Lexus, smooth, not a lot of noise, right? This thing rattled like a 1965 Volkswagen Bug. I thought at any minute, it's like a carnival ride with bolts like flying over everywhere. I thought it was going to fall apart.
They gave me a used jet?
I'm not sure. Either way, yes, I did hold it together. I may have soiled myself, but I didn't pass out. Take a look.
All right, at 10,000 feet, Mark, are you ready? You're going to have to take a deep breath, flex your legs, and do that hook maneuver for this. All righty. Whenever you're ready, I'll let you know the pole's coming. Ready. All right, deep breath, flex your legs, up we go. There's 6.5 G. Keep breathing. Keep working. Keep breathing as fast as you can do it. I'm flying an F-18! Yeah! There you go. I guess I shouldn't let go of the stick when I'm flying. No, I probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah, that's pretty much right when they grounded the plane because he said, hey, you've got control now. And I'm like, hey, forgetting that I'm in $1 billion government vehicle.
Yeah.
I got to sign you up. You do it?
I do it.
All right, yeah, I think you'd make a good pilot. Sat down with Doc Borza to talk about it. She's pretty much behind every single flight that's happening now. Take a look.
How are you?
I'm awesome. I'm so excited to talk to you. I'm a huge aviation fan and probably one of the very few people doing interviews with you to say, I got to fly with the Blue Angels. I experienced this and it changed my life.
Amazing. Yes, tell me more.
So it wasn't supposed to happen. Governor Schwarzenegger was in office at the time and he was to take the flight. And I was on a list way down and I thought, the governor's going to take the flight. I'm not going to have it. And then on my birthday, the day of the flight, or technically the day before, he couldn't show up to do the training because you have to do that. And you better than I could say the HUT training where you train the abs. He couldn't show up for that the day before. I did. So I got the flight.
There you go. I love that. I love that. How did you do?
I did really well. I told Lieutenant Davis was the pilot in command. And I said, go strong. I'm not afraid. And I didn't black out. I did get tunnel vision a couple times, but I didn't go all the way out.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Wow, very impressive. Very impressive.
I became at that time really aware of how physical this was and what kind of shape you have to be in. And maybe you could better explain to the audience, like, why is it so crucial that you're in shape?
Absolutely. So it is physically demanding, yes. And when we're flying these dynamic maneuvers that can go over 7.5 G forces, we're not wearing G suits, which is something that no other jet unit team does in the world. And so since we don't have that extra benefit of a G suit to help push the blood back up to our brain when we're pulling excessive G forces and heavy G forces, it is something that the pilots have to learn to do themselves and use their own muscles to do that. And that way they stay awake while they're flying, which is critical. And it's physically demanding. You use your entire body to be able to do this. And they're doing it for 45 minutes straight, holding a 40-pound spring on the stick so that we have just fine movements in the air. It is truly a physically demanding job. And then do it again tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow for 6 days a week. So it takes, a lot of training in order for us to be able to do this safely.
Thank you again for your service. That is awesome. It is intense. Makes you appreciate what it's like to be a Blue Angels pilot. See it on the big screen. So they nicknamed me Flatiron. That was my pilot name, goofing on my 2005 hair. What would your name be if you were a pilot?
Black Magic.
Black Magic? Right on. I want to fly with you just to say, hey, I flew with Black Magic. That was awesome. All right, Furiosa. We got to do what we call tease ahead to next week. What would you say about Furiosa?
I would say go to the bathroom early because it's nonstop action.
That's exactly what they said about my flight. Furiosa next as we take a look. Peace out.